Officer Dalton Reed thought he'd found easy prey that Tuesday afternoon. A black family in a minivan cruising down an isolated stretch of Wyoming highway. Miles from anywhere that mattered. No witnesses, no cameras, no one who would believe their story over his. He expected compliance. He expected silence. For 12 years, Reed had owned this highway. For 12 years, he'd stopped whoever he wanted, searched whatever he wanted, and walked away clean every single time. But this time, Officer Dalton Reed was wrong. This time, he pulled over a family that would trigger a federal investigation exposing over a decade of racist policing. Every word he spoke, every lie he told, every abuse of power he committed, all of it captured in high definition by an $89 Dashcam he never saw coming. Power has a funny way of destroying those who abuse it. And Reed's destruction was about to be absolute. Marcus Williams was 48 years old, a high school history teacher who believed in America. Not the version that existed in reality, but the version that should exist. The version he taught his students about every day. His wife Jennifer, 46, was an ER nurse who'd spent 20 years saving lives. In the back seat, 17-year-old Tyler prepared for college, carrying the careful awareness that came from being a young black man in America. His parents had given him the talk when he was 12. How to behave around police officers, how to keep his hands visible, how to survive an encounter that could turn deadly in seconds. He'd practiced the survival skills that white teenagers never had to learn. His sister Maya, 14, sat beside him with her new camera. She wanted to be a documentary filmmaker someday. She had no idea she was about to live inside one of those stories. This vacation to Yellowstone represented 18 months of sacrifice. Jennifer's double shifts, Marcus's summer school programs, canceled subscriptions, delayed purchases, every dollar accounted for. Tyler had offered to skip the trip to save money for college. Marcus refused. "You need to see your country," Marcus told his son. "You need to know you have every right to be anywhere without having to justify your existence. You're free, Tyler. You're free." 4 hours into the trip with Stevie Wonder playing and his children's laughter filling the van, Marcus believed his own words. 4 hours and 17 minutes in flashing lights appeared in his rearview mirror. And Marcus Williams learned that freedom for people who looked like him was always conditional. Officer Dalton Reed had been wearing a badge for 15 years. It had never been about service. It had been about power. At 38, he'd accumulated 19 formal complaints in 12 years. Not one had resulted in discipline. Sheriff Clayton Burke Reed's former high school football coach had made sure of that. Burke believed in taking care of his own. When Reed spotted the Colorado plates, saw the black family inside, noticed they were alone on this isolated stretch with no witnesses for 40 miles, he saw an opportunity. His body cam was off. It was always off when Reed decided to remind certain people that this was his territory. He activated his lights. Marcus saw the patrol car and felt his stomach tighten. He checked everything. Speedometer exactly 65 in a 65 zone. Turn signal working. Seatbelt fastened. Registration current. There was no reason for the stop. But Marcus had lived long enough to know that reason wasn't always necessary. The flashing lights activated. Jennifer's hand tightened on his shoulder. Tyler sat up straight, instantly alert. Maya looked up confused and afraid. "Kids," Marcus said quietly, "put your hands where the officer can see them. Don't make sudden movements. Be respectful, and please stay calm." Jennifer's hand found Marcus's on the wheel. "The dash cam is on, right?" she whispered. Marcus gave a barely perceptible nod. The small device had been recording since they'd started the engine. $89 on Amazon 2 years ago. He had no idea it would become the most important purchase of his life. Reed sat in his patrol vehicle for 90 seconds. A deliberate delay. A power move. Make them wait. Make them worry. Finally, he approached. His hand rested on his weapon. His face flushed with disproportionate anger. Mirrored sunglasses despite the overcast sky. Marcus rolled down the window, hands visible. "Good afternoon, officer. How can I help you?" Reed took his time studying the family. His gaze lingered on Tyler. License and registration. Not good afternoon, not an explanation, just a command. "Yes, sir." Marcus moved slowly, telegraphing every action. "My license is in my wallet. My registration is in the glove compartment. I'm reaching for them now." Reed said nothing. His hand remained on his weapon. Marcus handed over the documents. Reed studied them. Colorado plates. Long way from home. "Yes, sir. We're on vacation, heading to Yellowstone." Reed's tone suggested disbelief. "You were swerving back there." Marcus's pulse quickened. That was a lie. He'd been maintaining perfect lane control. "I don't believe I was, officer. I've been driving straight at the posted speed limit." Reed's jaw clenched. "Are you calling me a liar?" The question hung in the air, loaded with threat. Marcus had spent 7 years as a JAG Corps attorney in the United States Army. He'd prosecuted soldiers who'd abused their authority. He knew exactly what Reed was doing, and every instinct told him to stay silent, to let Reed dig his own hole. "No, sir. I'm just stating I wasn't aware of any swerving." Reed leaned down, making an exaggerated show of sniffing. "I'm detecting an odor of marijuana." There it was. The pretextual probable cause. The manufactured justification. "That's impossible, officer. None of us use drugs. I'm a teacher, my wife is a nurse. We don't have marijuana in this vehicle. Teachers don't smoke weed." Reed's tone was mocking. "I'm telling you there is no marijuana in this van." Reed straightened. His hand gripped his weapon. "Step out of the vehicle." Jennifer couldn't stay quiet. "Officer, we're just a family on vacation." Ma'am, Reed snapped. "I didn't ask you to speak. If you speak again without being addressed, I will consider it interference." Maya whimpered. Tyler's hands tightened, knuckles pale. Marcus looked at his wife, conveying everything silently. "It's okay. I'll handle this. Protect the kids." He opened the door and stepped out. The afternoon sun beat down. Marcus stood facing Reed, hands visible, posture non-threatening. "Turn around. Hands on the vehicle." Marcus complied. The pat down was unnecessarily rough. Reed pushed Marcus's face against the warm metal. This wasn't a search. This was humiliation. Through the window, Marcus could see Jennifer trying to stay composed, tears forming. Tyler watched his father being searched, jaw clenched. Maya had her face buried in her hands, shoulders shaking. "You carrying anything illegal?" Reed asked. "No, sir. Nothing illegal. We'll see about that. I'm searching your vehicle. I don't consent to a search." Reed's hand pressed Marcus's shoulder hard enough to hurt. "You refusing my lawful order?" "I'm not refusing. I'm exercising my Fourth Amendment right to withhold consent. That's not a refusal. That's a constitutional protection." Reed leaned close, voice dropping to a whisper the children couldn't hear, but the dashcam captured perfectly. "You think you're smart. You think knowing the law matters. I say you were swerving. I say I smelled marijuana. I say you're being uncooperative. Who do you think they'll believe? Me or you?" The quiet part said out loud. Reed stepped back. "Dispatch, this is Unit 7. Uncooperative driver suspected narcotics, requesting backup." Marcus's heart sank. Backup meant more officers, more potential for violence. Through the window, Jennifer's eyes met his. Without words, they communicated everything. "I love you. I'm scared. We'll survive this. for the children. Deputy Craig Hendricks arrived 15 minutes later, 26 years old, 3 years on the force. He'd learned early that loyalty to fellow officers trumped everything else. He approached seeing the family, the out-of-state plates, the black faces. Reed's specialty. The familiar twist of conscience came, but he pushed it down. This was the job. "What have we got?" Hendricks asked. "Colorado plates," Reed said. Driver was swerving, detected marijuana odor. Drivers being uncooperative. Hendricks glanced at Marcus pressed against the van, hands flat, completely non-threatening, but he said nothing. "Want me to secure the passengers?" Reed nodded. "Separate them. See if their stories match." Hendricks approached Jennifer's window. "Ma'am, I need you to step out." Why, her voice steady but trembling underneath. "What have we done?" "Just step out of the vehicle." Jennifer looked at Marcus, made a decision. "I'm stepping out," she said loudly for the children. "Tyler, Maya, stay in the van. Keep your hands visible." She exited slowly, deliberately. "What's your name, ma'am?" "Jennifer Williams." "Where are you headed?" "Yellowstone National Park. Family vacation." "What does your husband do?" "He's a high school teacher. American history, 23 years. I'm a nurse. Emergency room, 20 years. We're not criminals, officer. We're just a family on vacation." Hendricks felt the twist of conscience again. This woman was a nurse, her husband a teacher. Their kids clearly well-behaved. This wasn't a family transporting drugs. But pointing that out was how you ended your career. Officer Reed believes he detected marijuana. "That's impossible," Jennifer said firmly. "There is no marijuana in our vehicle. We don't use drugs. We're a family. Then you won't mind if we search." "I mind very much. You have no probable cause. My husband stated he doesn't consent. The Fourth Amendment protects us from unreasonable searches." Hendricks blinked. "Most people didn't quote the Constitution." "Ma'am, if you're refusing." "I'm not refusing," Jennifer interrupted. "I've answered every question. I've exited when ordered. I'm standing here with hands visible. But cooperation doesn't mean surrendering constitutional rights. You don't have probable cause. You don't have consent. Unless you have a warrant, you have no legal authority." For a moment, Hendricks didn't know what to say. She was right. Reed's marijuana claim was fabricated. But Reed didn't care about courts. "Step over here, ma'am." Behind them, Reed pulled the sliding door open. It slammed against its track. Tyler and Maya flinched. "You kids carrying anything illegal?" Tyler's voice barely steady. "No, sir. What about you?" Reed looked at Maya. Maya couldn't speak, just shook her head, tears streaming. "I asked you a question. Use your words." "No," Maya whispered. "No, sir. Both of you out. Now." They climbed out, trembling. Reed began pulling luggage from the van, suitcases yanked out, thrown onto the dirt. Clothes spilled everywhere. Maya's camera equipment dumped, lenses rolling across asphalt. Tyler's college materials scattered in the wind. Reed searched with vindictive thoroughness. Every pocket unzipped, every seam felt. Floor mats pulled up, glove compartment emptied. 20 minutes of methodical destruction. And at the end, Reed found exactly nothing. No drugs, no weapons, nothing. No. Marcus watched from his position, face pressed against metal, heart breaking as he saw his children's belongings scattered. This was what he'd wanted to protect them from. Maya would never forget watching her father treated like a criminal. Tyler would never forget the helplessness. Reed straightened, flushed with frustration. He'd found nothing. A reasonable officer would have apologized. Reed wasn't reasonable. "I know you're hiding something," Reed said. Marcus said nothing. "You think you're clever. You think you can come through my county and disrespect me." Officer Marcus said quietly, "We've complied with everything. You've searched our vehicle. We have nothing illegal. Can we please go?" Reed leaned close. Not until I'm satisfied you're not a threat. A threat Marcus couldn't keep the incredulity out. I'm a 48-year-old teacher with my wife and children. How am I a threat? You're the one questioning my authority. Makes me wonder what you're hiding. I'm not hiding anything. You've searched everything. You've found nothing. Please just let us go. Reed's hand moved to his weapon. I could arrest you right now. Obstruction of justice. Resisting arrest. Suspicion of narcotics. I haven't obstructed anything. I haven't resisted. And you've found no narcotics. That's not what my report will say. The naked threat. Reed was saying he would lie in his official report. Fabricate evidence. Commit perjury. Who do you think they'll believe? Reed continued. Me, a decorated officer with 15 years. Or you. The system would protect Reed. It always had. 19 complaints, 19 dismissals. But Reed had made one critical mistake. He'd never asked about the Dashcam. The small device had been recording since Reed activated his lights. It captured Reed's approach, his lies, his fabricated marijuana claim. It recorded Marcus's complete cooperation, his respectful tone, his clear refusal of consent, and it captured Reed's threat. Every word, crystal clear. Marcus said nothing, didn't mention the Dashcam, didn't threaten, just stood there and let Reed keep talking. Because Marcus had learned as a prosecutor that the best way to build a case was to let them incriminate themselves. Reed was doing an excellent job. Jennifer stood with Hendricks watching her husband humiliated her children's belongings littering the highway. She'd maintained composure through everything. But now something broke inside her. Not her spirit, her patience. You know this is wrong, she said to Hendricks. Ma'am, I don't. You know there's no marijuana. You know we're not criminals. You know this stop is based on nothing but the color of our skin. You're young, I can see it in your face. You still have a conscience. So I'm asking you as someone who spends every day trying to help people to do the right thing. Hendricks looked away, conflict visible. I'm just doing my job, he said finally. The hollowness in his words was obvious. Your job is to serve and protect, Jennifer said. Who are you serving right now? Who are you protecting? Hendricks had no answer. Finally, Reed walked back to his car, conferred with Hendricks, returned to Marcus. You're free to go. No apology, no explanation, no acknowledgement. Marcus pushed away from the van, slowly back aching. A small cut on his cheek where Reed had pressed his face against the door handle. Blood trickled down. You can repack your vehicle, Reed added, turning away. Marcus looked at the scattered belongings. Suitcases in dirt. Children's clothes strewn everywhere. Maya's equipment in the road. We'll help you, Hendricks started. No, Marcus said firmly. You've done enough. The deputies walked to their vehicles. Reed didn't look back. Both cars pulled away. The Williams family stood on Highway 191 surrounded by wreckage. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Tyler broke. The control he'd maintained shattered. He turned and vomited. His body shook as adrenaline and fear and rage poured out. Maya ran to Jennifer, burying her face in her mother's shirt, sobs finally escaping. Jennifer held her daughter, watched her son sick on the roadside, looked at her husband standing alone with blood on his face. We're not letting this go, she said. We're filing a complaint. We're going public. We're not going to be another silent victim. Marcus looked at her. She saw he'd reached the same conclusion. We're doing more than that, Marcus said quietly. He walked to the van, reached into the glove compartment. His hand emerged holding a small SD card ejected from the Dashcam. We're going to end his career, Marcus said. And we're going to make sure he can never do this to another family. Tyler straightened up. Maya raised her tear-stained face. Both children looked at their father. They saw something new in his expression. Not anger, though anger was there. Not fear, though fear remained. They saw determination. Pure, cold, absolute determination. Everyone grab something, Marcus said. Let's pack up. We're going to the next town. We're finding a motel. And then we're going to burn Dalton Reed's world to the ground. 30 minutes later, everything was repacked. No organization, just clothes and equipment thrown into suitcases. They were too exhausted to do better. Marcus started the engine. Jennifer's hand found his on the gear shift. Tyler and Maya sat silent and shell-shocked. As they pulled onto the highway, Marcus looked in the rearview mirror one last time. The spot where his children learned that being black in America meant their freedom was conditional. The spot where his faith in the system died, but also the spot where something new was born. A refusal to accept injustice, a determination to fight back, and the footage that would make it possible. At the Pinedale Motel, Marcus uploaded the Dashcam footage. 3 backup copies, cloud storage, local files. The family watched 47 minutes of their trauma. Reed's lies, the illegal search, the threats, and the admission crystal clear. Who do you think they'll believe? Me or you? He admitted it, Tyler said. He said he was going to lie. The audio is perfect, Jennifer added. Marcus called the Sweetwater County Sheriff's Department. After being transferred 3 times, he reached Sergeant Mills. I need to file a complaint against Officer Dalton Reed. I have Dashcam footage of the entire encounter. 47 minutes. High definition. Mills's voice shifted. You have video. Yes. Everything. The fabricated probable cause. The illegal search. The threat to file false charges. And his admission he planned to lie in his report. Silence. Then Mills explained the proper procedure. Mail your complaint. We'll review it. Marcus understood immediately. This was the first layer of defense. Make it difficult. Require physical mail that could get lost. Create barriers. How long does review take? Marcus asked. Several months, like you did with the 19 previous complaints against Reed. More silence. Marcus realized the department would protect Reed. They always had. He opened a new browser and searched. A CLU Wyoming. Civil rights attorneys. Independent journalists. We go over their heads, Marcus said. We go public. Sarah Chen from the ACLU reviewed the footage that night. At 10:17, she was still watching. This wasn't just another complaint. This was a federal case. She called Marcus back. Mr. Williams, I've reviewed your footage. This is one of the clearest Fourth Amendment violations I've seen. Everything is documented. The fabricated cause, the illegal search, the threats. He admitted on camera he planned to lie. So you believe me? Marcus exhaled. I believe the video, and juries believe video. This is prosecutable. Sarah asked the difficult question. How far are you willing to take this? Going public will make you a target. This department has protected Reed for 12 years. There will be pushback, media scrutiny. Your children's trauma replayed on news. Are you prepared? Marcus looked at Jennifer, Tyler, Maya. All 3 nodded. We're prepared. This isn't just about us. It's about every family Reed has done this to, making sure he can't do it again. Sarah outlined the plan. Federal civil rights lawsuit against the entire department. Contact the DOJ Civil Rights Division. Go to independent media. Marcus reached out to Alicia Rodriguez, his former student, now a journalist at the Wyoming Tribune. Within hours, she responded. Mr. Williams, I just watched your footage. I'm so sorry this happened. And yes, this is absolutely a story I want to tell. Can we talk tomorrow? The Wyoming Tribune article went live the next morning. Black family stopped on highway dashcam reveals officer's conduct. Within hours, 847 views. By afternoon, 5,000. Then someone shared it on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Tyler's friend with 18,000 followers cut a 30-second clip. This is why we say Black Lives Matter. The algorithm picked it up. 340,000 views. Civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump tweeted to his 1.2 million followers. Another example of driving while black. When will it end? By midnight, 200,000 views. CNN ran a segment the next morning. Dashcam captures Wyoming traffic stop. Suddenly everyone was talking about the Williams family. The sheriff's department phone system crashed. 4,000 calls in 3 hours, demanding Reed be fired, sharing their own stories. Sheriff Burke watched his world collapse. For 15 years he'd protected Reed, dismissed complaints, intimidated victims. But this was different. This was video that couldn't be explained away. His attorney advised damage control, put Reed on administrative leave, issue a vague statement. Distance yourself. Burke held a press conference 48 hours later. We take these allegations seriously. Officer Reed has been placed on leave pending investigation. Reporters shouted questions. Have you watched the footage? I've been briefed. Do you believe the stop was justified? I can't comment on ongoing investigations. This is the 20th complaint against Reed. How do you explain the pattern? Burke's jaw tightened. No further questions. He walked away. The damage control failed. If anything, it made things worse. Sarah Chen filed the federal lawsuit 3 days later, named Reed the department and Burke personally. Alleged Fourth Amendment violations, civil rights deprivation, false arrest, emotional distress pattern, and practice of discriminatory policing. Demanded damages and reform. She sent everything to the ACLU National Office Police Accountability Journalists Advocacy Organizations and the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. Congresswoman Elena Martinez called Marcus within the week. Mr. Williams, I'm going to ensure this gets federal attention. I'm contacting DOJ personally, raising this on the House floor. Your family will have the support you need. 8 weeks after the stop, the DOJ announced a preliminary inquiry. Not a full investigation yet, but a start. Then FBI agent Carmen Martinez called. Mr. Williams, I've reviewed your Dashcam and Officer Reed's personnel file. I need to tell you something that might change your understanding. What's that? This wasn't just about racism. It was about money. Marcus frowned. Over 12 years, Reed conducted 847 stops, 89% minorities or out-of-state vehicles. Only 23% got citations, so most were harassment. Worse, of the 196 citations, 178 resulted in towing. Every tow went to Frontier Towing, owned by Dale Morrison. Morrison is Sheriff Burke's brother-in-law. Marcus saw where this was going. 3 years ago, Reed bought a $45,000 boat, cash. On a $52,000 salary, he was getting kickbacks. We're building a racketeering case, Mr. Williams. This wasn't just one racist cop. This was organized crime using traffic stops to generate revenue. Marcus felt sick. My family was product in a business model. Exactly, Martinez said quietly. I'm sorry. How many families? Based on stop patterns, at least 100 over the years. Probably more. We're opening a full investigation. Reed, Burke, the towing company, everyone involved. This will take time, but we're prosecuting everyone we can. The next day, Sarah called with more news. 23 families contacted me in 48 hours. All stopped by Reed. All describe identical experiences. Fake probable cause, illegal searches, threats, towing. They're coming forward because they saw your footage. They realized they weren't alone. For the first time, they have proof it was deliberate. A pattern. What do we do? Document everything, interview them all, build an unassailable pattern. I want to meet them, Marcus said. They need to know they're not alone, that their stories matter. The meeting was held in Rock Springs 1 week later. 19 families showed up. Black families, Latino families, Native American, interracial, an older white couple from California. All stopped by Reed. All searched. All violated. LaToya Johnson approached Marcus. "I'm LaToya. Reed stopped me 3 years ago. Said I was speeding, but I wasn't. Fake marijuana smell. Searched, found nothing, still towed my car. $800 to get it back. Missed my son's 6th birthday, stuck on the roadside for 4 hours." Marcus shook her hand. "I'm so sorry. I tried to file a complaint," LaToya said. "They said it would be investigated. Never heard anything." "None of us did," another woman, Marissa Williams, said. "Same story. Fake cause illegal search tow," I complained. Nothing happened. One by one they shared stories, the pattern identical. Marcus listened to all of them. When everyone spoke, he stood. "I'm just a high school teacher, not a lawyer, not an activist. Just someone who got stopped on the wrong day. But I had something you didn't, a dash cam. And that footage is why we're here." He paused. "This isn't just about me. It's about all of us. A system that let one man terrorize people for 12 years. A department that protected him. A sheriff who chose loyalty over justice." His voice grew stronger. "And this is about making sure it never happens again. To anyone, the FBI is investigating. DOJ is involved. There's going to be a reckoning. And I want every one of you part of it. Your stories heard. Your complaints validated. Justice you were denied." Sarah interviewed all 19 families over 3 hours. Marcus stayed for every interview. He realized this wasn't about Reed anymore. This was about a community finding its voice. People silenced, discovering they could speak together. Victims becoming survivors. Survivors becoming activists. FBI agent Martinez compiled her findings. Over 12 years, Reed deposited $73,000 in unexplained cash. Morrison's towing company paid $52,000 to Reed through shell companies. Burke's brother received $120,000 in rental fees from Morrison. 3 other officers got $87,000 combined. Reed made stops. Vehicles got towed. Morrison collected fees. Money flowed back through family connections. Everyone profited except victims. Martinez sent her report to the U.S. attorney with a prosecution recommendation. 4 months after the stop, a federal grand jury convened. Marcus was teaching when Assistant U.S. Attorney David Chin called. A grand jury returned indictments against Reed Burke and 3 others. Reed faces deprivation of rights, false reports, perjury, wire fraud, conspiracy. Burke faces obstruction, conspiracy, failure to supervise. Morrison and others face wire fraud and conspiracy. What does this mean? We're going to trial, and we need you to testify. The deposition happened 6 months later. Marcus sat across from Dalton Reed for the first time since the stop. Reed looked different. Thinner, older. The arrogance gone, replaced by fear. Marcus hadn't been required to attend. But he chose to be there. He needed Reed to see him. "Officer Reed, did you have probable cause?" the attorney asked. Reed cleared his throat. "Yes, I detected marijuana." The prosecutor played the video. Perfect lane control, fabricated claim. "Did you have probable cause?" Reed's voice quieter. "I believed I did." Marcus leaned forward. Reed's eyes flicked toward him, then away. "Let me ask directly," the prosecutor said. "Did you smell marijuana in that vehicle?" Silence. "You're under oath." More silence. Marcus spoke. Not a question. A statement. "You didn't smell anything. You saw a black family with out-of-state plates. You thought we were easy prey, too scared to fight back. You thought no one would believe us. Reed's attorney started objecting, but Marcus continued. You were wrong. The room went silent. Reed looked up, meeting Marcus's eyes. Marcus saw shame. Not remorse for families hurt. Just shame at being caught, exposed, power stripped away. Marcus held his gaze, then stood. I'm done here. He walked out. Never looked back. Because Reed was irrelevant now. The system protecting him was being dismantled. The trial began 14 months after the stop. Federal Courthouse, Cheyenne. Overwhelming prosecution case. Dashcam footage, financial records, testimony from 19 families, expert analysis of stop patterns, text messages between Reed and Burke. The defense had only Reed's word. Against 47 minutes of video, it was worthless. Marcus sat with Jennifer Tyler Maya. Behind them, Latoya Marissa Kendra, 16 other families. The jury deliberated 4 hours. Will the defendant rise? Reed stood. No uniform. Just a cheap suit and the posture of a man who finally understood he wasn't untouchable. On deprivation of rights under color of law, how do you find? Guilty. Reed's jaw clenched. On filing false reports. Guilty. A woman behind Marcus sobbed. Not sadness. Release. On perjury. Guilty. On wire fraud conspiracy. Guilty. The judge looked at Reed. Mr. Reed, you were given a badge and gun. Authority to protect and serve. You used it to terrorize and oppress. Targeted families by skin color. Fabricated evidence. Lied under oath. Turned human beings into revenue streams. His voice hardened. But this family refused to be silent. Because of their courage, your 12-year reign of terror is over. Sentencing in 30 days. Until then, remanded to custody. Marshals approached. Put Reed in handcuffs. The same handcuffs he'd threatened Marcus with. As Reed was led out, he passed Marcus. Their eyes met one last time. Reed looked away first. The sentencing hearing was packed. All 19 families present, media, national reporters. The judge reviewed everything, victim statements, pre-sentence reports, sentencing guidelines. Mr. Reed, I've presided over many cases, murderers, drug dealers, violent criminals, but few disturb me like yours. You didn't act in passion or desperation. You committed crimes over a decade, preyed on vulnerable people believing your badge made you immune. You were wrong. 18 months federal prison. 3 years supervised release. Permanently barred from law enforcement. Restitution to each victim. Felony convictions on your record for life. Reed showed no emotion, but Marcus saw his hands shaking as marshals led him away. Sheriff Burke didn't go to prison. Prosecutors couldn't prove direct participation in the scheme, but they proved he suppressed complaints, obstructed investigations, protected Reed. Burke pleaded guilty to obstruction, resigned, lost his pension, 2 years probation, community service. More importantly, lost his reputation. 23 years as sheriff. Now a cautionary tale about corruption's cost. Deputy Hendricks fired, testified against Reed for immunity, barred from Wyoming law enforcement. 3 other officers fired. 2 resigned first. All faced civil suits. Morrison pleaded guilty to wire fraud. Lost city contract. Faced suits from 23 families. The department entered a DOJ consent decree. Mandatory body cams on all stops activated before contact. Auto-upload to secure servers within 24 hours. Public release within 72 hours of complaints. Complete ban on quotas. Independent Civilian Review Board with subpoena power. Annual bias training. Federal monitoring 5 years. Not perfect, but better. The civil lawsuit settled 8 months after conviction. Facing overwhelming evidence, the county paid Williams' family $2.1 million. Marcus and Jennifer set up college funds for Tyler and Maya with half, donated the rest to ACLU Wyoming for future civil rights cases. "We didn't do this for money," Marcus told press. "We did it so no other family goes through what we did." The real impact was the ripple effect. Williams' case cited in 12 other civil rights cases nationwide. Dashcam footage used in police training as what not to do. Law schools taught it as Fourth Amendment case study. The Williams stop became shorthand for how one family's courage exposes institutional corruption. Dashcam sales spiked across the country. People understood why documentation mattered. 2 years later, the Williams family drove through Wyoming again, heading to Yellowstone. The trip interrupted by Reed's cruelty. The trip never finished. This time, they'd finish it. Crossing into Wyoming, Tyler squeezed his father's shoulder. "You okay, Dad?" Marcus nodded. "Yeah, I'm okay." And he was. Nightmares faded. Hypervigilance lessened. Rage transformed into acceptance, understanding he'd done everything possible to make it right. They drove through Sweetwater County past the stop location. Marcus didn't slow, didn't stop, just kept driving. 20 miles past a police car pulled behind them. Marcus's heart spiked. Jennifer's hand found his. Tyler and Maya went quiet, old trauma resurfacing. Lights flashed. Marcus pulled over, hands trembling, placed them on the wheel visible, told kids to keep hands visible. Same protocols, same fear. A young officer approached. Different face, different demeanor. "Good afternoon, sir." Respectful professional. "Stopping you because your right tail light is out. Just wanted to let you know so you can fix it." Marcus blinked. "That's all?" "Yes, sir. Safety issue. Have it repaired when you can. Already writing a warning, not citation. You folks have a good day. Safe travels." Walked back, drove away. Marcus sat holding the warning slip processing. "That's how it should be," Maya said quietly. Every time Tyler added. Jennifer squeezed his hand. "Maybe things are changing. Slowly, but changing." Marcus looked at the slip. Polite note about tail light. No fabricated cause illegal searches threats. Maybe things were changing. They pulled onto the highway, continued to Yellowstone. 6 months later, Sarah called Marcus. "Remember those 19 families?" Of course. 22 settled their civil cases. Total settlements $4.7 million. One still negotiating. Everyone's getting justice, Marcus. Because you had courage to fight. It wasn't just me. It was all of us together. Maybe. But you had the dash cam. You refused to stay quiet. You were the catalyst. Marcus sat at his classroom desk after school. Thought about being a catalyst. He'd never wanted to be an activist. Never wanted media attention or to become a symbol. He just wanted a family vacation. But sometimes life forces you into roles you never auditioned for. Sometimes you become the person the situation requires. He pulled out his phone, opened photos. Their Yellowstone trip finally completed. Whole family in front of Old Faithful smiling. Tyler was in college now, criminal justice major, wanted to be a civil rights attorney, fix the system from inside. Maya thrived in journalism class, won an award for her police accountability documentary, interviewed families from Reed's case with compassion and skill. Both children transformed trauma into purpose. His phone buzzed. Tyler texting. "Hey, Dad got accepted to ACLU summer internship, working on police reform cases. Thought you'd want to know." Marcus smiled, typed back. "Proud of you, son. You're going to do great things." Maya texted next. "Teacher wants me to submit my documentary to National Student Film Festival." "Should I?" Marcus replied. "Absolutely. Your story matters. Tell it." He looked around his classroom. Constitution posters, civil rights leader photos, student essays on the bulletin board. This was still his calling, teaching, helping young people understand rights history power. But now he had a different story for Fourth Amendment lessons. Not theoretical, real, his story. How one family's courage changed a system. How documentation defeated deception. How justice, when it finally comes, belongs to everyone who refused to accept injustice. The Dashcam is still in the van, still mounted, still recording every drive, but not from fear anymore, as documentation, as witness, as reminder that truth captured and preserved can change the world. Marcus thought about Reed sometimes. Not often, but occasionally. Out of prison now after 18 months. Working a warehouse. Convicted felon, no prospects, no badge. Marcus took no pleasure in Reed's downfall. No satisfaction in another's suffering. But justice, knowing Reed could never hurt anyone else. Never use a badge as weapon. Never turn a person into product. And peace, knowing the system protecting Reed 12 years was forced to change. Not enough. Not completely. But changed. Mandatory body cams, civilian oversight, federal monitoring. These reforms wouldn't prevent all abuse, but they'd make it harder, riskier. More likely the next Reed faces consequences. Maybe over time enough to shift culture. Change the calculus for officers seeing certain people as less than human. Maybe. The Williams family drives through Wyoming regularly now. Every summer, the Yellowstone trip they tried to make that first day. Dashcam always recording. But they're not afraid anymore. Watchful. Aware. But not afraid. They learned important things those 5 years. Justice doesn't always come easily or quickly. Systems protect themselves before people. Fighting back means sacrificing privacy, peace, safety. But they also learned one family with evidence can take down corrupt systems. Courage is contagious. Change, however slow, is possible. Their voices mattered. Their story mattered. Their refusal to stay silent mattered. The Dashcam still records, not as protection, though it serves that purpose, but as witness. Documentation. Proof that what happens in darkness can be brought to light. Proof that power, when abused, can be challenged. Proof that one $89 camera can change the world. If this story meant something to you, share it. Not for clicks or views, but because patterns only change when people refuse to look away. Your voice matters. Your refusal to accept injustice matters. Your documentation matters. The Williams family proved one family with courage can dismantle corrupt systems. Evidence defeats deception. Silence protects abusers, while truth protects victims. They proved change is possible. Subscribe to our channel for more stories about ordinary people refusing to accept injustice. Families who fought back. Victims who became advocates. Survivors who transformed trauma into change. These stories need telling, and maybe if enough people hear them, the next family won't need to fight at all. The gas station is still there. Police still patrol. But now cameras are watching.